Welcome back to Ash to Dusk, you guys. I am so excited and nervous and all of the things for this very first podcast episode. Now, I have went back and forth. Do I use a teleprompter? Do I have notes? Do I just talk casually? And I'm just going to talk casually. I have an intent for the episode and how it's going to go. And then we're just going to see how it goes. The teleprompter is just too much for me. It doesn't feel like I can be myself. When I look into the camera, it's different than when I give a keynote because during keynotes, I can see the audience, I can see you, and I know how you are feeling because I can read your faces, right? Where this is so different because I'm staring into a camera lens and that's it, right? And I'm praying and hoping that someone on the other side is going to, number one, watch it and then it's going to land well. So I'm going to count on you to give me all the feedback. Um, and of course, if you love the episodes, to please make sure that you share it out, that you subscribe to YouTube, and that you uh, follow Ash to Dusk on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. All right, here we go. So, what topic could I possibly do for the first episode? And here's the thing, we're talking about Ash to Dusk, which represents the beginning and the end, right? Everything in between, the messy middle of life. And for me, it's going to be about, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship, being a mom, being a wife. We're going to talk about faith. We're going to talk about the opinions of other people. We're going to talk about perimenopause and the thinning hair and all the things. We're going to talk about it all. And I didn't know where to start. So I thought, well, what's kind of happening in the world today that has really been on a lot of people's hearts? And that has been the mass shootings in schools, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It is this yearning for our community, our country. It really is looking for healing. I do believe that. I think that there's a lot of hurt. I think that things are so polarizing and you're afraid to say the things that you want to say. No one's willing to listen to the other side. There shouldn't really be sides, but there is. And so that had me thinking. I, one of the things that I have struggled with for a long time is the guilt, the mom guilt. And I say that because it's guilt that I've put on myself, not necessarily what other people put onto me. Although, sometimes people like to share their thoughts, but it's been this like guilt of, I have 3 boys and they need to be a priority, and same with my husband. Yet inside of me, I have this if you want to call it like an itch that needs to be scratched sort of thing. But I have this calling. And I do believe that I am supposed to be helping other women out there who have ever been or are feeling stuck, not worthy, trying to just survive or thrive, that I'm supposed to be helping in some sort of way. And I do believe that the work that I do at Project School Nutrition, which is a lot of motivational keynotes, we help school nutrition professionals plan their menus. All of that is to really inspire this next generation to do better than what we have, right? To do better than how we live. Like that's what we should want for all of our kids. So when I think about this mom guilt and owning a business, having a career, I'm very career oriented. One of the things that has also happened over the last, month or so with these tragedies happening in our country is my family and I decided that we are going to start reading the Bible together. Now, that's not to say like you guys need to believe, not believe, whatever. Like our family definitely is torn in different ways on that topic, but for me, it was really important that we started reading the Bible. Now, it has been 9 years since I opened my Bible, you guys, 9 years. And Mike never did. I mean, as a child, maybe a little bit, but yeah, I mean, that's really not, it hasn't been his thing. And my kids have always asked and have been curious, and were part of the church when they were really, really little, but they really were so young that they don't remember. And I bring this up to you because as I am diving back into scripture, it talks about, right, the man being the head of the household and the wife being submissive to the husband. Now, I believe it to be different than what some people might think that as, but and just like the roles of a Christian family. And you know, it just has made me, I don't want to say just the Bible, but like all of the things that have been happening have made me really stop to realize I can sit there and want to change the world and make it a better place, right? That's pretty audacious. And you can't do it alone. You need a community of people, which in part is why I've started this podcast, Ash to Dusk. I think that when we can feel good about who we are and our light shines bright, then those around us will shine bright as well. And I've always struggled with with this mom guilt of I have this business, I'm out there on this mission, but I have my family at home. Now I'm reading scripture, and then it really hit me. I'm pouring into teams, school nutrition teams across the country, but I need to pour into my family. So, anyways, that's what we've been doing. But I want to talk about mom guilt for a second because I believe two things can be true at the same time. And that is that I can still be a really good wife to Mike. I can be a really, really good mom to my boys. And I can also still have a career that I love, that is truly my calling, that can all exist at the same time. I do not believe in balance. That is something that I used to believe that, but I have learned over the last few years owning a business that that is not true. It's not possible. And it's something that is talked about on social media like, oh, no, there's no balance. But I think when your family is also part of the calling and you can learn how to be flexible with scheduling and with your time, then it makes all the difference in the world. Now, when I first started, I didn't have that luxury. I was still working a salaried job when I was, very into my career. It was salaried and I didn't get to just choose my work schedule, right? Like it was in the schools I had to work a very specific schedule and, kids' sports and all the things. But I want to remind you of something, especially if you're watching me and you're a mom. You do not have to give up on your dream. I actually don't think that that's what we're supposed to do. I think our kids are meant to see us happy, working toward something, accomplishing our goals, because they learn through action, not through our words. We can tell them to go chase after their dreams, but if they see mom sitting in a corner crying because she doesn't know how she's going to pay the bills, she's not chasing after her dreams, and that life looks really hard for her, that's what they see, that's what they become to know. So I want to encourage you, for anyone who is watching who really is passionate about their career or going after some sort of dream, that I don't want to deter you from that. And you will get people who will say things to you like, you are a mom, as if somehow I forgot. And I keep hitting this microphone, you guys. Sorry about that. If it's like as if somehow I forgot that I was a mom or a wife. Of course I know this, right? But I believe I was called to do the work that I do, which does mean that I'm going to have to do some traveling, that there might be some nights or weekends that I might have to work. But also, what I am building is also cultivating a life of flexibility and a little bit more freedom for me to be able to do things like get my kids on the bus for the first time. I had never been able to do that, you guys. I always had to either take them to like a before care center, or I'd have a babysitter always come over. I didn't have that luxury. This is something that I just now am getting to. And my oldest son is almost 15 years old. So it's taken a long time to get here. And I don't want you to lose hope on that. Um, so, yeah, I think the message today is go after the dream. You are worried about what other people are thinking of you. I've been worried about what people think of me too. I still do to this day. And I know that that does not serve me. It starts with believing in yourself. And it also means this, and Mike and I, we've talked about this a lot lately, but it's really getting on the same page. What is our family values? What is important to us? Because our marriage looks very different than a lot of people's, and that's okay. Like if you follow me on social media or you know me in real life, you know that Mike has a full-time job, right? He's an iron worker. Like, he has a really rough, tough job, but he loves to grow flowers. He grows some of the most beautiful flowers, and he cooks 99.9% of the time for me and the boys. Like, he cooks us dinner, and he's always taking care of the flowers outside in the garden. And I came home recently, and the whole front porch was decorated for fall. Um, and that's okay. Like, that's something that he loves and enjoys, and I love that too. And I have more of the roles of, you know, looking from a financial statement, piece is what I should say, financial statement. Um, you know, Looking at the bigger picture when it comes to finances, when it comes to the career piece, right? Um, I do really lead my boys in terms of like setting values for them, and um, obviously Mike's a part of that, but our relationship is just different, and that is okay. And I think the first step for you to not worry about what other people are thinking about is getting really comfortable with, you have to do what is truly best for you. You have to, and for your family. So if you're married with children, it's time to sit down with your spouse and have a really good heart to heart conversation about what has been on your heart and your mind, and what you would like to do and to achieve. Mike has always been a huge supporter in terms of me going after those dreams. But I'm going to tell you something that's really true. Um, there are people out there who, as soon as you start to get better, they kind of pull you down. I've seen this with other marriages, I've seen this with friendships, because for whatever reason inside, they're struggling. Now, Mike has always been confident in who he is and what he believes in. He's always stood firm in that. At the beginning of our relationship, I would get mad at him because sometimes I'm just like, you just don't understand. And it's just like, no, he just really believed to his heart, how he wants life to be, how he thinks it should be. And anyways, so all that to be said, it's time for you to step towards that dream. It's okay that you have children, okay? Having children doesn't mean life comes to a halt. It doesn't. It just means life looks differently, but we get to raise them to be awesome human beings. And the way we do that is through action, so that they can see us living a happy, fulfilled life. I do believe that that starts with your faith and getting very grounded in that. And that's something that I have struggled with for almost a decade now, for almost 10 years. It's been something I've struggled with, but I do believe that being firm in your faith and your religion is important. It's key. And I believe that you and your spouse come before your kids. And I know that this bothers some people, but those kids are going to leave you one day, mamas. They're going to leave you. That is the point of this, right? And when they do, you should not be a stranger to your husband, and your husband should not be a stranger to you. You have got to pour into each other. And this was something that I have somewhat lacked in myself, if I'm being really honest. The other day, Mike was like Dawson and I, so my youngest son and I were pulling in the driveway, and Mike was in the garage, and he was just got done mowing, and he takes his shirt off, right? So I roll down the window and I whistle at him, and Dawson looks at me and he was like, "Mom, that's so weird." And I was like, "What? I love him. And he looks great taking his shirt off." Right? Like, I want to whistle at him, and that will make him feel good too. It's having those conversations with your kids. They need to see you affectionate. They need to see you chasing after your dreams. But it starts with having a conversation with your significant other first. Now, if you are divorced, you're single, maybe you've never been married, but you're single, there is absolutely a challenge that comes with that. There's some freedom that comes with it, right? But there's also a challenge. And when I was divorced, and I was dating Mike for a few years before we got married, but I was living on my own. You might as well call it a single mom, because it was a single income. It was me trying to figure out how I was going to get my kids everywhere they needed to go and balance my career and all those things. Absolutely, things are so much harder, so much harder. Um, it's time to build a support team around you. And I didn't have that at first. Yes, I had immediate family that would help and whatnot, but it, it takes time, and you're going to need that, because I do believe that we're supposed to be in community with each other. When they say it takes a village to raise children, it does. And you can't do it alone. And sometimes we build up walls around us because we've been hurt so badly that we don't allow people to help us. I've been guilty of that, you guys. I've been really guilty of because of so much hurt and pain from childhood, that nope, the only way that you're strong is if you figure it out on your own and you do it yourself. That I really put up walls that has prevent some people from helping me. Um, so yeah, today's conversation, I hope, just inspires you to know that you're not alone in wanting something more for your life, and that it's okay to want that. I say this in my keynotes. When we're little kids, people ask all the time, what do you want to be when you grow up? And kids will always say things like, I want to be a doctor or a teacher or, you know, a lawyer, whatever it might be. And but when you become an adult, you actually, what do we really do, right? Well, we stop asking those questions like, what matters to you? What do you hope to be? What do you hope to achieve in life? We stop asking each other those questions, and we actually just get into like the rat wheel of life, which is I get up, I go to work, I take care of my family, pay the bills, go to sleep, get up, and we do the same thing over and over again. And that's not what life is meant to be. I don't believe so. Yes, we have to work. All of us have to. I mean, I certainly haven't won the lottery to be able to not work, but we all have to work. We all have to pay our bills, but that is not what life is supposed to be about. So I want you to think about that this week. What's going to be one thing that you're going to do to take one step toward changing the trajectory of your life right now? If you listen to this in the introductory podcast, um, I did a visualization of all of us being in this beautiful body of water, and we're all in different boats. We are all headed towards our final sunset one day. And we're in different stages of life. So some of us are further ahead in our boats than others. Some of us are, in yachts. I'm not. But some of you might be in a yacht, while some of us are in paddle boats, or some of us have a big hole in our boat and we're trying to patch it and keep us from completely sinking, right? We're in different seasons of life, but we are meant to do this together. Those of us who are further along the road are meant to pause for a moment and look back and say, come on, guys, come this way. You've got this. We've got you. It's encouraging those who are younger than us, to inspire them to want to do better, right? And those of us who are not as far along, to be able to pause and look up for a moment and seek wisdom from the people who are further down the road than us. They have something to offer and to give. We just need to be willing to open up and receive that from them. So, thank you guys so much for the very first episode. Um, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all the things. Would really, really appreciate it. If you have any questions, I'm going to start answering some questions on the podcast as we go. I've already received so many, like from how did I know when to divorce my husband, to starting a business, to becoming a keynote speaker, to helping my team get on the same page. So whatever the question might be, professional or personal, please ask it. We'll keep it anonymous for you. Don't worry. Um, if you weren't able to join me in like a comfy chair, please, please, for next Sunday, I want you to find something comfy that you can sit on, put on your favorite robe or a comfy outfit, find a really comfy blanket to cozy up with, and come join me for the next episode on Ash to Dusk. But until then, keep burning. Ash to Dusk.